Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm. Into this house we're born. Into this world we're thrown.
Welcome to episode 7 of the Game Plan Online. We've got a special treat for us today in Paul Mitchell's place. We've got special guest Trevor Norton, who's RFL Commissioner and Rook Kingston stalwart. So great to have Trevor on board. And our special guest today is Brownswell Football Club President Bernie Lehmann. So welcome, boys.
Thanks, Dillo. Absolutely honoured to be here, mate. And sitting in the Masters chair and alongside the top gun from the independent comp.
That's it, mate.
Thanks, Nick.
Number one present at the moment.
No worries. Thanks, Nolly.
Travelling beautifully, Bernie.
The team's doing well. Yes, We're very happy with what's happening.
So a 5-0 start, you wouldn't have, I guess that's in your wildest dreams, you probably wouldn't have even imagined that could happen, particularly considering Brownswell's, it's been a long time in between drinks for Brownswell.
It has.
Such a start like this.
We were reasonably confident we had a very good side, though. We knew we were, 10-20% better than last year, so, things are looking the way we thought maybe. Yeah.
Excellent. I guess it's a far cry from when the club was, in the mid-2000s there, where it was winless for 3 or 4 years in a row. I'm not sure how involved you were then, Bernie, but how close was the club to potentially folding at that point when just couldn't get a win on the board?
Yeah, look, I don't think the club was ever close to folding. I think there was people that some of the older stalwarts maybe thought that at times, but we did only win 1 game in 6 seasons. And to pull through that and to be where we are at the moment, that just shows that you can, if the club's not looking so good, you can pull through, and we've got a great bunch of people out there at the moment, and it's looking really good.
That's good. Excellent.
Yeah, a lot of talk, Bernie, about the imports, but I look at all your local blokes you still got around the club, the nucleus of young fellas. That's the key to independent clubs.
It certainly is. Yeah.
You've got 10 or a dozen of the Flavels, the Brawns, the Lehmanns and so forth, and you can build around it.
We can, absolutely. We've got some lads that are our best players by far. And the imports, I'm not sure how often they've been in the best players, but not that often apart from maybe Tate Sharman.
Yeah, and apologies to Heidi, who's probably one of your best going around, who I missed in that list too. So
absolutely. Well, you've got him, who's just, for a big guy, he's very fast. He is hard to stop. So yeah, terrific player.
He's a solid defender. I watched him in, I think it was round 2 when you guys played in Rook Kingston, and just one of those blokes that always manages to get his fist on the footy. And when he hits it 20 metres the other direction, and that's very hard to stop as a forward.
It is, yeah. He has momentum, and when he's got momentum and he doesn't let go, if you're in the tackling line, you're going to get it.
Well, Dillo, you're going to be on the end of it this week.
Yeah, so, we will be.
A couple of ins I just noted, if I put my specs back on, a couple of ins for Brownswell and a notable one, Michael Reistein.
Yes, Michael, we've actually just had a phone call from the league saying that his clearance is through, so he just needs to do the registration process, and he's in, and he's pretty excited. He wanted to play last week, but they didn't clear him. So.
But there were a couple of whiskers that he signed up, had a few drinks one night at the Brownswell social event, and he signed back over to you guys, which is great news for the Bombers. It
is. He originally was going to just do a permit for a few games, and because we've got plenty of numbers, we said, well, you need to rethink that, and we're glad he has. So,
that's excellent.
Only way Dillo's going to stop you here, Bernie, is putting 5 for 5 on the front cover of Game Plan.
He
pulled up very last week with that front page. So watch
Don't do that to us.
So watch out.
No, Brownswell have already had their go on the cover. Look the tree down there too.
They might be waiting for 6 for 6 and put you up a bit later in the year.
So sorry, but just on the side, you seem to have a very it's a different side to what Brownswell has been traditionally. It used to be, you had the big fellas, the Hamples, and not a lot of pace. And now there seems to be so much pace. Guys that can run with the football, like Marcus Mao, like I said, Tate Sharman, McConnell's back in, and just so many guys that are in and under and can run with that football. And I imagine it's really pleasing to watch as a president and supporter.
It's very exciting for us to see that we've got so much pace, and those guys you just mentioned, along with Troy Braun and Diggers McNeil, and honestly, the whole group picks up a notch when you get that confidence running through. So pace and tackling hard has really come in this year, and it hasn't been there before. So,
that's good. Thanks. Any more questions?
Good stuff. Well, I've got a couple, but you blokes put me up to them, Bernie. They want to know how much you're paying everyone, but I'm not even going to ask you that. because they're all just jealous.
Would you like to know how many paid players there are?
That's probably better, mate.
Well, we've got 4 paid players.
There you go. Well, that's even better, Dylan. So enough of that. There's also a rumour floating around, mate. I saw in the press this week and last week the new Guernseys.
The new Guernseys are out.
Very smart look. Saw you holding it up.
Jeff McDonald from Riverland Landing is extremely happy they're finally here.
Good plug.
Well, also I noticed the Taylor Group ran with it, so in the Pioneer on Tuesday, but you didn't show us the front, and I'm led to believe the front carries a monogram with 2015 undefeated premiers. Any truth to that, Maureen?
No truth whatsoever.
There you go, Dylan.
The front is the same as the traditional Guernsey's been for the whole entire life of the club.
Oh, good to hear.
Since 1969.
Excellent.
Good to hear. So there you go. It's not true, Dylan.
Oh, well,
might go on after the grand final, but it's not on before. Is that
that's a Nobby special right one there. He's stitching up here.
Pull that out of somewhere.
Just lastly, before we go into the matches for this week, just maybe run us through what football's like in the Mallee at the moment, because a lot of people say it's doom and gloom. Obviously East Murray folded, and that was terrible for the competition. But Wonka and Brownswell seem to be going pretty strong. Wonka not so much on the ladder, but they've got blokes to come back in, and Brownswell 5-0, you can't complain about that. So, do you think that football in the Mallee is sustainable for those two football clubs?
Well, in the short term, it's definitely sustainable, but everything has its term, and the way things are in dryland farming, and which is the centre of what happens at Peruna and also Wonka, things will change, and how long that is, we don't know. We don't have a Colts side this year, first time ever, and if you look at our team now, apart from the imports, I reckon every player would have played Colts for us.
Yeah, true.
So without Colts, very difficult to see it going further than a 5 to 8 year period, something like that.
Do you see the Colts getting back on track?
Well, really not in the short term, no, because there's just not the lads there. It's very difficult.
Good point you blokes make, and there's only 4 Colts teams in the comp anyway, so it's no disrespect to the Bombers. Look, I've got a theory on this, having been involved previously with the independent footy, that once upon a time we used to top up our lists with a lot of lads from under 15s in the Big Six, and it worked both ways. We had lads going to play with them as well, and they brought them out. Now mum and dad do not want to take the kids to 2 games of footy on a Saturday.
It's a big ask.
They're just sticking with the Big Six, which makes it really tough. And not only that, any of the lads that are playing that live in either Peruna or Marook or places like that are out, or Wonka, are drawn to play footy with their mates in under 15s and under 13s. Makes it even tougher. But Bernie mentions about Colts, any Colts, and how many Colts they've got in their A grade. They've also got a couple of their former Colts sitting here in their president. And myself, Bernie and I played in the same Colts. It's been going all the way back to 1976, I think, or was it 86, Benny? It might have been 86.
It was 86.
86. And always a strong culture out there. Great to see the Bombers back on top. Only downside is you've got to book to get tea there on a Wednesday night. They're knocking out 100 every Wednesday.
Yeah, the Wednesday night.
So that's not a downside, really.
So this week's Wednesday night tea and whatever happens at the club is a fundraiser for the Smith family. So that's all happening tonight. So we're hoping that extra people come along and we raise some dough there. So
that's fantastic. And just while we're on, we're going to touch on it a little bit later once we get to the Loxton game, but we do send our condolences to the Smith family, to Goof, Ryan, Kale, and anyone that was friends or family of Leanne, and it's a tragic passing, and we wish Ryan all the best in his recovery down in Adelaide, so all the best to the Smith family.
It just goes to show that family's bigger than just your immediate family when you're a member of a footy club or any other sporting club.
Absolutely, and our coach, when he did his pre-match on Saturday, the first thing he had written on the whiteboard was the Brownswell family, so it all came into what he was saying as well, so it's terrific, the support that's out there for them.
Definitely, I think there's been a lot of support across the Riverland, which has been really good.
Yep.
We'll just go through this week's matches. Now we'll start off with the Gill Lehmann Cup between Waker and Renmark. Trevor, if you want to run us through that one.
Well, look, Dillo, I've got the ins and outs, and the ins for Wakery are none, and the outs we've still got Bevan sitting on, last year's medalist Bevan sitting on the out. But I can break some news for you here that Bratton had an arm guard approved at a league commission meeting last night. So maybe he's getting ready for an early return. So that'll be just what Percy really wanted to hear, I suppose.
Bit risky though, isn't it? Like bringing him back before you get the bye next week, and surely wait another week.
Yeah, I couldn't work it out, but it came up. It's basically a shin guard, similar to what Ruckman would wear, and we've left it with the umps to make sure it's properly protected so it doesn't do any damage.
Yep.
But look, Percy, he'd be not wanting to hear that after what happened last week against the Panthers, and shall we call Renmark the hapless Rovers at the moment? I mean, it's a pretty tough gig, I know, with all those outs. And looking again, there's Fraser Peters out, Ben Harding, Russell Menz and Josh Warnock, big outs for them, Dillo, as you know, you're a local boy up this end. In Lockie Lehmann, possibly, and tests I've got here for Trev Thorpe, who's probably really hurt and sitting on the sidelines as the skipper of the side, and he'll probably play even if he's only 60 or 70%, I'd imagine, with him being so depleted. And Ash Lynn are also a test. So, look, if those guys come in, it'll help. The outs, like I said, they can at least afford them. You've got to be thinking if they can just hang on and at least be competitive for 4 quarters, that'll be job done.
And just talking to Trevor during the week, he was really hurting. You could tell in his voice that how much it hurt him, and he wasn't playing on the weekend, and he wants to get back out there as soon as he can. So we wish all those boys the best in getting back from their injuries. So just tips, fellas. Bernie, maybe you first.
Wakery, I think.
Yeah,
Wakery definitely, and look, with all that loss of coaches at Carlton during the week, we can only hope Percy survives as well. Lightheartedly, John, I know you're not under the pump like that.
I think Percy will be right to get through. So I think Wakery as well. They're Renmark are struggling at the minute. Hopefully they get those blokes back soon. So we're going to the next game, the Proud Cup between Loxton and Loxton North. Now we haven't heard a huge amount about the ins and outs for Loxton, and as far as we know, they got through last week unscathed. So, and they're travelling along great guns at the moment, 4 wins in a row, and obviously knocked off the top team in Berry last week. And Loxton North will get back Scott Meneghetti, which is probably pretty timely, I think, against the Loxton midfields. Scott, if he plays up forward, where he has been, he'll be handy up there, but he could be thrown in the middle as well, where he's a bigger body sort of fella. But Michael Scott's out injured, so he'll come back after the bye. So it's an interesting one because North have had the wood over Loxton a little bit. So, but Loxton are the form team at the moment. Look,
I'm loath to tip against the Panthers, but Loxton are up and about, and seriously, their imports have gelled really well with their local blokes, and I think Meneghetti will definitely play. He'll play up forward. Fitness tested him Sunday night. Bernie, you'd be pleased to know.
Good work.
And he was moving around having a few reds, but wasn't moving real good. So. but Scotty's a big out for them. He's a driver for them around the ball. So look, I think Loxton probably will stretch him a bit with their big forwards, particularly Raph Little is going real good up forward, and they got Nichols down back to throw forward as well. And Panthers,
he's been killing blokes, Nichols.
Yeah, and Panthers have got some tools to go with them in Cookie and Arnold and Josh Voigt, so probably well matched. But look, I reckon maybe Loxton on their home deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Loxton because it's at Loxton.
Yeah, and I'm with the Tigers as well. Nobby runs through the final Riverland game, the Fisher Cup between Barmah and
Monash. It's at the lakeside, isn't it? So, look, the Pelicans will start favourites, I reckon. Even though Berry were 5 and zip, Loxton put them away without too much of a whimper last week. And it looked like Mumford well held by Nichols, so obviously Barmah will be looking for someone to do a similar job. Maybe Millard, I reckon,
Millard,
to go with him. But look, a couple of ins. Ferenczi back in for Barmah Monash and Matthew Watke. Out Sam Butterworth, Ken Carpenter Jr., who had a very good game last week from all reports down there, so he'd be an out for them.
And Sam Butterworth too.
Yeah, and Sam Butterworth and Caden Coates. So look, ins for Berry, Jamie Milburn, excellent in. Dustin From, a good in. Jamie Peltson out. Rory Carell also an in. So look, maybe, toss of the coin here, boys. For me, maybe Berry to bounce back, even though I've talked the Pelicans up. Maybe Berry to bounce back and Mumford to be hard to handle.
Yep, Ben?
I'm going to go with Barmah here.
Yeah.
I reckon it could be their time to have a crack while Berry have gone down. So, yeah.
Well, we just don't want to see Berry fall into the same trap Renmark did last year, where they came out all guns blazing and started to fall away. I think they'll get over the line in this one, but especially with Jamie Milburn back in, I think he straightens them up across half forward. So we'll go with the Demons. Now into the independent games, we've got the game between Cobby and Lyric down at Cobby. We'll just quickly run through these ones, fellas. Ins for Cobby, Troy Dawson is a very good in, Ivan Maynard and Derek Clark, but outs are John Hunter, Jason Goodfellow and Tyson Andrews. In for Lyric, they've got Kenny Carpenter Senior, that is, come across from Barmah Monash. The captain Dave Grenfell will have a fitness test, but I'd imagine he'd probably play the following week. Damien Heineke, Brendan Groppler, Brandon May, Darren Davies, Scott Nagel and Clint Hendry's a big in. He's finally cleared now, and he's apparently played a little bit of league football at Centrals or somewhere down there, I believe, and out Dean Hill, who'll come back after the bye. So we'd probably think that Lyric would do this one.
Line's easy. Interesting to see Hill out. He's their main avenue to goal up forward. Interesting to see Ken Carpenter Senior back in, perhaps inspired by watching his lad play at Barmah last week. Maybe he's out this week at Barmah to go and watch Dad play because Dad watched him play the week before. But yeah, no, Lyric and Bernie would have seen Lyric firsthand. They're the side that pushed you the most this year.
Look, they are fantastic. They are the fastest side that we've seen. We haven't seen Paringa yet, but they are fast. So yeah they are going to win easy. So.
They blew away Ramco on the weekend after half time. There's 7 or 8 goals, bang, 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 all in a row. And they're going to be a team to watch, I think.
They will be, sure. No doubt about it.
Yeah. Nobby, run us through.
Okay, next game we've got Paringa at home to the Bombers, so I'll just run through the ins and outs and you two blokes can have an arm wrestle about it. For Paringa in, Sam Fran, Zach Fran, Blair Dillon, Jamie Gudgeon, Peter Siddle, Cameron McNaught and Ryan White. How are you going to fit them all in, Dillo?
We've got plenty to come out.
Out Mick Miller, Jared Collinson, Adam Forbes, Brodie Dillon, Elliot Hall and Kurt Maitland. Brown Swell in James Fegert, which will be handy at the goal front. Mark McConnell, James Shannon, Michael Rice, I've already talked about, and the other twin tower up forward, Jesse Smith, who's very, very handy. And I'll tell you what, as Pizzle gains a bit of momentum, he's going to be hard to stop because he's got sticky fingers. Yep. He might not get off the ground as much as he used to, but he's still got very long gadget arms.
That's it.
And outs, Jock McNeil, Tate Sharman, Pat Flavel and Bryce Victor. Bernie, you've seen the ins and outs. How do you reckon up there in the big Paringa Oval?
Well, I think the Paringa Oval will be fine with our team.
It's pretty similar to your Oval.
Yeah, I don't think that's an issue at all. I didn't realise some of those were out, so the team will be thrown around a little bit again.
Might find out tonight.
That's no different to every other week. I mean, we haven't had a full team yet, and it's been thrown around a fair bit. A lot of the Paringa names I actually don't recognise, so Dillo will have to talk about them, but our team will still scrub up okay, I think, with those ins.
Half the time Dillo's shaking the hand for the first time on a Saturday.
We're a bit underdone as far as players go this week, but you know it's been the same every week, so we just have to move on with that. But we do have some good guys coming back in. Hopefully we can cover the guys around. We have lost 2 permanently. Elliot Hall and Kurt Maitland have moved back to Whyalla region for work, so which is a bit of a loss, but opens up the door. You know, we've got Nate Rover and Chris Garden to come back in the coming weeks. So.
Well, I know each of you blokes are going to tip, so it's up to me to sway the balance. Yes. So look, I think, you know, Bernie talked about it a bit earlier about the speed they've got outside. They'll probably miss Tate Sharman and Jock McNeil in that department this week. But look, Mark McConnell, he's no slouch still. He covers the ground still all right. And look, I'm going to go the Bombers. I just reckon form on the board. Paringa always hard to beat at home, but look, this one doesn't mean much to you guys because later in the year's when it's going to count. But
correct.
But it'll be good to keep winning for Brownswell, and it'll be good for you blokes to see where you're at, I suppose, as a benchmark. So Brownswell for me.
No worries. And last game, we'll just quickly run through this one. Ramco and Kingston down at Ramco. So ins for Ramco, Jake Trimble, Jason Wilson, Brenton Reedy. Now, I always get this bloke's name wrong. Trev, can you read it?
Oh yeah, very good. Get Dillon.
No, we'll give that one a miss.
Jim Kay.
We'll call him Jimmy Kay. Matthew Delazoppa and Steve Herford, the big goal kicker. Now it's Lachlan Kane, Chris Allen and Adam Schultz. Ins from Kingston, Travis Voigt, the big fellas back in, John Pintilli and Kenny Wright, the skipper in the midfield, so that's a big in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Outs are Sam Hershey, Chris Marks, Matt Morrell and Craig Britton, so some big outs as well. It's going to be tough for the Warriors to get down there, I think.
Yeah, look, they need to win it. I mean, it's almost season over there. Trav's a good in, Trav Voigt.
Yeah.
They missed Kenny Wright last week. I reckon if either of those blokes had played, they probably would have got over Wonka.
Mm-hmm.
according to Mick anyway. Although he had them primed, the Bulldogs, it was their preliminary final, according to Mick. And but look, it's been a tough story for the Warriors, and going down to Ramco on their home ground, they're going to have to handle Hefford. Baddock back in form last week, kicked the bag. So, look, you'd have to say the Roosters start faves, and Sam Hershey out with an ankle injury is not good for him because he was playing well. Matty Morrell will be out due to work commitments. So, look, Trav's a good in. Kenny Wright's there. It'll be a pretty good game, pretty close. Maybe the Roosters just.
Yeah, no, I think Ramco with their ins and what's been swapped around at Marook, I think Ramco will win that.
Yeah, I think Ramco pretty comfortable too. Having seen them firsthand a few weeks back.
Yep.
Right, that's it from us. Thank you very much for tuning in again. Thank Trevor Norton for coming in. Great to have him on board.
Thanks, Dillo. Good to see Bernie. I just wish you told me Bernie was coming. We could have had lunch before we got out. It would have been a whole different show.
It would have been very messy. Thank you for coming on, Bernie, and we'll see you on Saturday, mate, and hopefully it's a good game.
We will.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Cheers.
Like a dog with